Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm continuing my color along series in Mythographic Magical Earth, and I am coloring in the giraffe picture using Inktense pencils only. So I'm just gonna potter around and quickly finish setting up. Just giving you and me a few more minutes just to get everything together and for you to join me. Okay, so I just need a new sheet of paper behind my page. It just helps to protect the illustrations at the back, and it also helps me to make sure I don't put any ink or if there's any bleed through. Hopefully there won't be, but you never know. I hope that you have had a good day and a good start to your week. Hi Cindy, how are you? It's great to have you with us. Right, so I've pulled out of my Inktense pencil case the colors I picked out last week. So for the tree, I'm using dark chocolate and oak, which is 1930 and 1730. Then for the leaves, I've been using felt green 1530 and Beech Green 1510. And then for the giraffe, I'm going to try use Sicilian Yellow 0220, Tan 1720, Saddle Brown 1740, and the dark chocolate 1930. So these are the pencils I'm going to carry on working with, and we'll see how the day goes. I also did get my Caran d'Ache palette board, which I'm really looking forward to using. I think it's going to improve and help me make sure I don't waste any of my Inktense, because I don't really like doing that. So I'm going to zoom you in on the giraffes, and we'll get started on some of these giraffes, and if nothing else, lay down a base coat, and then as time goes on we can move back into the trees and start building up those layers there. Alright, I think I'm going to start with the back giraffes first. So I'm going to take my Sicilian Yellow and using my board or my palette, I notice they have a rough side and a smooth side, so I'm using the rough side here. And I'm going to start off with my #1 paintbrush, because these giraffes at the back here, they're quite small, so I think if we work with a very small paintbrush, it should help us. Okay. So picking up some of the paint, and I'm going to lay this yellow as a base coat. With a bit of a wet on wet technique going on here, just to help spread the ink in it so it doesn't dry. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear your eyes are dilated. Is there anything they can do to help with that? Okay, so I'm going to put this yellow as a base down for everything. The spots are going to be like a brownish reddish browny, dark brown kind of look. Oh, no worries, Cindy. Hopefully it will be okay. So his mane here, or the hair sticking up here, will be a dark brown, so a chocolate. We'll see how we can play with the colors as well. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. I hope it does clear up in 3 hours for you, and that when you do have another checkup, it's much better. Do you go regularly to the eye doctor? So we just wet this. And by using a wet on wet technique, what you're doing is preventing any like hard pigmented lines. Because sometimes when I put down the Inktense, if I don't have a wet on wet, I could have like a band where it's thicker or more pigmented than the others, so like an uneven coloring. Oh, okay. Yeah, I should go and see the optometrist. I haven't had my eyes checked in a while. Excuse me. I wear contact lenses, and when I'm not wearing contact lenses, I also wear glasses. I've been wearing them since I was about 6 or 7. Contact lenses since I was about 13. Okay, so I'm just going to damp this face. And because it's slightly bigger, I think I'm just going to use a number 3 paintbrush just to get this base layer down. So I caved and I went and I bought the new Inktense 28 colors. I didn't go and get the full 100 set because I've got duplicates already of, you know, for the 72 set. So I bought them, I've just bought the 28 and I'm hoping they'll come within the next week or so. So I'm very excited about that. I mean, I've sat and thought, like, you know, I've got the Castle Art watercolors. I'm not sure I really like them. But I love the Inktense and I love my Neo 2 colors. So I thought, you know, I don't have the, what are they called? The Faber-Castell ones. Oh gosh, I've gone blank. Oh, it will come to me. So I thought, you know what, I can actually, because I use Inktense quite a bit, especially as a base for my coloring, and sometimes I do use the Inktense as just the only pencil, I thought I could justify spending the money. So I'm really looking forward to those, and I'm hoping that the colors, the new colors, will actually work better for the background I want to do on this page. Yes, the Alberdura. Thank you. Hi B, how are you? It's great to have you. I looked at your tag video. That looks really exciting. I like that idea. And I loved how you included some pictures as well. So I'm hoping I can join your color tag in May. Thank you. What I can say is this paper has warped quite a bit using the wet on wet technique. I don't think it's too much of a problem because I can iron it when I'm done. I can iron it flat. I haven't noticed too much of the paper like peeling off, but I am going to be careful with that as I build up the layers. Oh, no worry, B. Have you had a long day? You're in good company. I'm also tired. I just have light sleep. I have a few hours deep sleep, and then I have a lot of light sleep. So every now and then it just catches up, and it's so... Some days I just get tired. But it's okay. It will come right. Okay, let me push this up a bit so you can see. I did also go onto Book Depository and I bought a few things off there before they close. I thought I would capitalize on their special. So they were having a discount on some of their books. So hopefully in May I can do a haul video. And show you all what I got for April and May. I'm not going to worry if yellow gets onto the leaves because yellow as a base on leaves actually works really, really well. You can even do that with your pencils. You can put down like a deco yellow or a neon yellow as a base layer, and it just makes your leaves just pop a little bit extra. Not all of the books on Book Depository have a discount, just some of them. Some books are 10% discounted, others are 30% discounted. Oh, I can't wait for my new Inktense pencils. I think they're going to be spectacular. And I do like that there are a few more reds in there, or pinky reds. Okay, so now I'm going to take my tan and I'm just going to just put some down, and I'm also going to bring in the saddle brown and the dark chocolate. The nice thing about using a palette board or a plate or whatever you've got that works for you is you can also mix your colors. Yes, and also found the pinks that were available were quite, how do I put it? They were quite dark. They, you know, they were very rich, so there wasn't a lot of room for softer pinks. And sometimes it's handy to have softer pinks. Okay, so now I'm using my oak, and I'm just going to come in here and just very gently go around all these spots. And I'll do the spots later. I just want to work on this first. Oh gosh, can you imagine the pastel pink tints? Or yes, you're right, even more pastel Neo 2s. That I think there is a lot of space for them. It would really benefit a lot of us to have more pastel-y colors. I think also with Inktense, because they turn into ink, having that those softer colors just also help with like blending and those gradients. All right, with this, I'm not going to worry overly much with, you know, fur-like textures, because I'm really not experienced with paintbrushes. So I'm just going to approach this as easily as I can. And with time, we will improve. Do you think this would count as watercolor? The checklist challenge has a challenge option for watercolor paint, but I don't know if Inktense pencils would count as watercolor paint or more as pencil. Oh, I'm so glad you've joined. It's always so nice to chat to you. All right, so I'm just using a bit of water here to just try and blend this out a bit. Okay, so his neck, just trying to think sensibly through where all the shadowed areas would be. So I think down here would be more shadow. If I go quiet, it's just because I'm really concentrating. And a little bit more of that Sicilian Yellow here to just try blend that out. Okay. then back to the oak. And then the Sicilian Yellow. And at some point I'll use the white Inktense pencil to create highlights and just fix all my highlights. Okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to use the saddle brown now. I'm trying to also angle the palette board so you can see the colors. So I'm picking up the tan to blend out the saddle brown. And then where his hair is lying on top, that's going to have a lot more shadow than the rest of him. So if I go, I'm going to have this top part here be lighter and then possibly this bottom, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of how to alternate the light and the dark so that it at least sticks out. Okay, so giraffe spots are actually darker than the rest of their body, so I don't want to make this too dark. So I'm going to bring in some more of that Sicilian Yellow. Okay, so this is the Sicilian Yellow, and I'm just using it to blend things out and also keep this the skin around the spots a light yellowish color. I don't want it to be overly dark, otherwise you're not going to see the spots. Alright, I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to come back over with the saddle brown onto this little giraffe here. Long hair, kind of something like this. Kind of like just dabbing it in, really. I don't know the last time I concentrated so hard on a giraffe. Alright, a bit of oak with a touch of Sicilian Yellow. And then I'm going to use the Sicilian Yellow over here. And then I want to pick up some dark chocolate. In the ear here. Okay, so then we're going to use the dark chocolate on the fur, on this hair part here. So I'm going to first try to do it lightly and build it up. Okay, so some more. Actually, that dark chocolate here, we could do a very light layer on his tongue because it's got a slight purpley tinge to it. Okay, so doing saddle brown in the spots. And then I'll go in with some of the dark chocolate. And kind of like where it lands is sort of where I'm going to let it be. So one thing with watercolor, you can't always, you can only control it to a point. It's not something that really always wants to be controlled. But we can build the colors up as we layer. So I'm trying to create like strand-like texture here on the fur, just to help keep it light. Yes, absolutely, it will be good to have more neutral colors. I agree with you. So I'm still using dark chocolate here. Because this one is quite small, I don't think there will be a lot I can do as far as details. I think I might actually get out some black for these dark spots, not for the skin of the giraffe, just these dark patches. It's actually really amazing how coloring has really helped me improve and understand art. I mean, if I tried something like this 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to approach it the way I am now. And I think it's just because coloring has helped to really understand how blending and layering and all of that really works. So it's really an interesting experience. Okay, I'm looking for, we don't necessarily have to do black. We could do a charcoal grey or Chinese ink. Let's try Chinese ink. I always loathe to use too much black, just because it really does flatten a page. Just need a tiny bit, really don't need a lot. So if you are joining, a big welcome to you. It's great to have you with us. Hi Irene, how are you? It's great to have you. Welcome. Oh, I'm so glad you're enjoying the castle arts. It's really, really great news. I have filmed a color along portrait using castle arts, so I'm busy editing those. So I'm really looking forward to publishing that so you can have a look. And if you are interested, color along with that. If you have any specific pictures or coloring books you would like to see castle art color alongs, do let me know. If I have those books, I'm very happy to do color alongs in them. I can honestly say this is really challenging. Such fine details. But I do like a challenge, so it's a good thing. Okay, right, maybe a little bit more charcoal up here. And I'm picking up a bit of oak to try here with a bit of the saddle brown. And then I need some more of the dark chocolate because this is one of those like horn bits here. So I really need to try and just emphasize this. Okay, I think I'm going to let him dry. I think he's not too bad. So a light shade here of the dark chocolate. I think I've also worked out how I want to approach these giraffes now. So I feel a little bit more prepared for the bigger giraffe, which hopefully will be easier to color because it is much bigger. Okay, let those bits dry. So let's come and do a few of these dark spaces here with some of this dark chocolate. Oh, thank you, Irene. Okay, I will have a look at a Kirby color along for you with Castle Arts. With pleasure. I did go and buy myself the Worlds Within Worlds. I'm still on the fence when it comes to Mystic World and Alien World. How have you found Alien World? I'm really enjoying some of the pictures I'm seeing people color in Kirby's new book. But I am seeing more and more mixed reviews on it, or mixed opinions. I much prefer his World series to his Imagimorphia, Anamorphia, and that sort of series. Okay, so this bit here kind of goes into here. I also have been attempting to color in Layla Dooley's flower year with Derwent artists. I'm just not convinced that they're going to be as vibrant as the Prismacolors or even some of the Castle Arts or I mean, Arteza is really pigmented. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out. But I did pick out a small picture, and I'm also filming it so you can all see how I did, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I'm filming that, and obviously I'll have to edit it. It's so funny because Derwent artists were my first colored pencils, so to find that I don't enjoy them as much as the other pencils I've got feels like a slight betrayal. I have these mixed feelings. It's so funny. All right, let me bring them down a little bit more so you can see. So as with pencil, you just go in the same direction of the hair with the paintbrush. Just doing a very light coat here. Oh, Cindy, they are expensive. A lot of Derwent pencils are actually expensive. You do get what you buy. I mean, there's Inktense pencils here I've had for, hang on, 13 years most likely, and they've been dropped a couple of times, so they don't break. They're very good quality, but they are expensive. And I mean, I didn't know about Lightfast pencils or Chromaflow or I think Pro Color is another one of their sets. And I must say, my personal opinion now, given what's out there as far as coloring supplies and pencils goes, I wouldn't recommend the artist set because they just don't feel as pigmented, and they also they take a lot of layering, probably more similar to the Lyra Rembrandt pencils. So if that's like your style, then it could work for you. But if it's not your style, it could be more frustrating than useful. I would say even the Faber-Castell polys are much more pigmented than the Derwent artists. That is a really good question, Irene. I haven't actually tested the light fastness. I am aware that Prismacolor does lose its light fastness, or its colors, they do fade. As far as I know, polychromos don't fade as much as the Prismacolors. I've only been coloring regularly and hardcore, I suppose, since 2020, so it's only been 3 years. I do wonder though if spraying a fixative on Prismacolor does help to preserve the colors, but I haven't had more than 3 years coloring experience. I can tell you that the Derwent artists, they don't fade. The light fastness carries. I only have a couple of pictures here. I've got one picture from 2018 I drew. Now if you'd like to see it, I'm very happy to show it to you. I would have colored it in with Derwent artists. And I can show you that sort of light fastness if you're interested. But anything with Prismas, Castle Arts, or polys. Castle Arts I've had for 3 years. I don't feel that the images have really faded, so I'd say Castle Arts are pretty good. Prismacolors I've only really been coloring with for about 2 years, and polys about 18 months, so I'm not sure if that's enough time to really see the colors fade. Now I'm trying to remember if it was Sarah Renee Clark who did a light fastness test on pencils. So I know one of the bigger coloring channels, they've done light fastness videos and all of that. Also, if you keep your coloring books away from sunlight, that should also help preserve your pictures. As far as I understand, pigment deteriorates very quickly in direct sunlight. So the way we look after our coloring books and our pages will also, I suppose, to a certain extent, help preserve the color. I think, yeah, I can look into it a little bit more. I have a friend who knows a lot about book conservation, so I can ask her for a bit more info and see what she thinks. But as far as specific brands, I think I might just need to have a bit more years behind me to go back to what I've already colored and see how has the pigment faded. If you are not putting down a lot of pigment on your paper, I think then you'll also notice the decrease of light fastness quicker. The Sunflower Bloom page by Christine Caron is in Fairies and Fantasies 2, and it is also in the Wildflower coloring book she's released, which you can get on Book Depository. I bought mine off Book Depository, so I'm waiting for that to arrive. I decided I wanted to get Christine Caron's work in really good paper quality, because although I haven't had too many issues with the Amazon paper in Fairies and Fantasies 2, I do like, I do appreciate good quality paper. So I splashed out a little bit on that one. But yes, that image is in her new coloring book, and it is in Fairies and Fantasies 2. Yeah, Irene, I think that should help. Yeah, I'm not sure what else, but I will see what I can find out for you and then get back to you. I will also try and see if I can find the video I watched a while ago where the YouTuber tested the light fastness of various pencil brands. I'm pretty sure it was Sarah Renee Clark. All right, I think when I'm done with this, I'm going to go in with my oak and build up the skin around these patches. So you can see on some of this the yellow peeking out of the dark chocolate, and that's just giving it a nice light and yet warm undertone. Okay, so let's go in with the oak and build this up here. So I'm looking at this part of his back and I'm thinking it's leaning a bit more away from possible light, so we won't make it too dark, but we won't make it too light either. Just have a bit of a shadow coming in. So if I bring in my Sicilian Yellow, I can blend it out. And here along this part of the body, it's kind of creasing away, so we'll move it out like so. Get a bit more of that Sicilian Yellow to help us blend. Then, so alternating between Sicilian Yellow and oak. Hi, Knife Arcade. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Apologies if I didn't. I do have a few Derwent sets. So I have Derwent Inktense, Derwent Graffiti Tint, Derwent Artist, which I don't like anymore. And I have a few Derwent Drawing. I do like the Derwent Drawing. Then I also have a couple of Derwent Charcoal and Pastel, which I don't use too much because I'm not very good at them. I would say that it depends entirely on your style. So the graffiti tints are quite muted colors. They also tend to be a bit more on the darker side. So they're almost like grayish tinge, so very dark. They're not pastel-y, they're not vibrant. I would use them more for like a dramatic effect. I've heard that the light fast are really good, and they do complement one of the other sets. I can't remember if it's Polychromos or Prismas. So that is also helpful to know. What else? Yeah, I don't have any of the more older sets, or newer sets actually, which is a shame. If I was to buy a Derwent set, I would probably test out the Light Fast. I've heard they're very creamy, they lay down well. They are also known for their light fastness. So I would personally be inclined towards the light fast pencils. The But that's about all I can really tell you, because yeah, my sets are limited. The drawings are very nice. They do blend well. They are lovely to work with. They are also quite hardy. You don't need as many layers as the Derwent artist. With the drawing, they are wax based, so you can use them with different brands as well. Their white pencil is apparently really, really good. Let me just bring this down for you. Sorry about that. Yeah, I've also heard good things of the Pro Color. I've heard the color softs. I've heard mixed things on the color softs. I have heard the Chroma Flow are good, but yeah, I would say Pro Color or Lightfast are probably good investments. I can't give you personal experience though, just what I've heard. So over here is quite darker because it's tucked away. I'm going to pick up some more Sicilian Yellow here. Oh, absolutely. If you can replace the individual colors, then keep on buying full sets. You will save a lot of money. So it makes perfect sense to do that. I've also been finding, as I've gotten more comfortable with coloring, I don't really have a need to own all the pencil brands out there, or a large majority of them. because I find you get to know what style you like, you get to know what you're comfortable with, and then you get to really challenge yourself with techniques and different things. Whereas, you know, I find for myself personally, if I had to relearn all these different pencil sets, I would have to learn all the different combos and how to layer them, which ones need layering, how much, and all that sort of thing. So I feel like in some ways it would take away from the art of coloring. So I've bought their new Inktense pencils, but I've stayed away from buying too many more brands because for now I'm really happy with Prismacolors and Polys and Castle Arts. And I've got a couple of the budget sets, like I've got some Artises, I've got the round brute Funers, but I don't really use them a lot. I don't really use the Artises too much. I've got the marker Raffine. So I just found my favorites right now and just sticking with them. But then when I need to replace them, I'm not sure I will replace my Castle Arts. I might then decide to try a different brand or just stick to the Prismacolors and the Polys. So I think with time you learn what works for you and what you like. So I'm trying to use a bit of water as I put this down to help me thin out the pigment and blend it out. So his neck is kind of turning, so you've got to try and turn it with your light source as well. No, I haven't tried any of the Caran d'Ache pencils. The only Caran d'Ache that I own are the Neocolors. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the Distress ink pencils I'm curious about as well. So it's just, I'm just trying to, you know, pick what things to try and when to try them. There's gelatos as well. I haven't tried the gelatos. And I've seen some beautiful backgrounds with the gelatos. there's so much out there to try and learn, and I mean, the realities, I think, for a lot of us is that money only goes so far, and sometimes the price of these art supplies are just, they take a while to save up for, or we have to prioritize what we really want. And because it's just a hubby who works and I'm doing my thing with the kids, I try and be, a bit more careful, just because we all, like everybody, we all have a budget, and at the moment with the current global position, we want to be, I suppose, careful with it. And prices are just going up through the roof anyway on just about everything. So, it's so hard. Coloring supplies are expensive and money only goes so far. But it's okay, there'll come a time when it will be, I will have saved up, and then I can try out different things, or the situation will change and maybe I'll need to buy new pencils, and then I buy new pencils and I try something else. So I'm not really worried, because there's a time for everything. Plus, to be honest, I would run out of storage space. As it is, I've been looking and scheming, how do I rearrange my my classroom so that there's space for the boys' things, but there's also space for my coloring stuff. It's just the realities of life. And we all have them, one form or another. So have you all been enjoying the Kirby for 2 weeks? Seen quite a few live streams. Haven't been able to watch all of them, but they look like they've been a lot of fun. Oh, exactly, Pnai Arcade. That's exactly what I went through as well. I just decided, I think it was 2 years or so into the hobby, that I didn't really need more than, once I got the prismas and the polys, I was like, I don't need more than this. But I really am glad I got my castle arts when I did, because I really enjoyed them, and I'm so glad I didn't spend too much more money on other budget pencils. And I think the castle arts were such a good experience and a good way to start and test the hobby. But once I got the prismas and the polys, I was like, I don't need more, at least not right now. Yeah, you could always, I mean, if you've got pencils or books that you no longer use, you can see if you can resell them. Sometimes I've actually got a couple of books that I need to sell on, because I bought them thinking they would be fantastic, and then I realized actually I'm not gonna touch them because they're just not my style. So I have been able to sell a couple, and I think, you know, that is an option, because you can get some of your money back that way and free up some space. And there are people out there who will want to buy those coloring books you don't use anymore, or who will buy the supplies that you know you don't want. There's should always be somebody interested in it. So what pencils do you, or mediums do you enjoy using, Bee? Yeah, Cindy, I've also, some of the Kirby colorings are just exquisite. I liked My Colorful Country Life, I think that's her channel. Her page in the Alien Worlds was really beautifully done. I take it you've really enjoyed this hobby, Cindy. It's funny how life doesn't always cooperate with us and give us what we need when we need it. Hollies and prismas. Yeah, they are really good, aren't they? Hi Dawn, how are you? Thanks for joining. It's great to have you. Glad to hear you well. I'm so glad that you both did find coloring and that you are here on YouTube. Yeah, can you imagine how far we'd all be if we had either kept on with coloring or had discovered it sooner? Can you imagine how far we'd be? I sometimes wish that I'd gone to had art lessons when I was younger, or done an art degree, just for the knowledge. But not much we can do about it now. Absolutely. I agree. And having a colouring community, I find it just really makes the world of difference. As you say, Cindy, having somebody that you can share it with. I think the community is what also makes colouring so special. Oh no, Dawn, I'm sorry your friend broke her leg. I'm so sorry. I hope she feels better soon. Oh wow, Pnai Arcade, that is amazing. Wow, to have a full-time art room, that's cool. And what a lovely thing to be able to have homeschooled your granddaughter. It's really special. I so hear you on that. I so hear you, Pnai Arcade. We had one of those days today. Anyway, what can you do? But it's lovely that you get to share together colouring and painting. Oh no, B, I'm so sorry your mentor forbade you from going to art college. What a pity. It's amazing how a mentor can have so much influence in our lives. Hi Leslie, thanks for popping in. No worries, totally understand that you have to go. Really appreciate you popping in to say hi. So it looks like today's video is mainly on the giraffes. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm concentrating very hard, trying to work out how to shape the giraffe. I'm glad you're finding it relaxing. It is, I think that's what I love about art, whether it's coloring or painting or even watching coloring videos. There is a relaxedness that it does bring. Although I don't know about you, but I find sometimes if I'm on the couch, I can get a bit too relaxed and then I start nodding off. Especially if it's one of those ones where they've put music in the background and they've sped it up a bit. Hi Michelle, It's great to have you with us. Welcome. So for the giraffe, I have been using Sicilian Yellow 0220. I'm using Saddle Brown 1740. I'm using Tan 1720 and Dark Chocolate 1930. So my lightest color is Sicilian Yellow, followed by the Tan, the Saddle Brown, and then the Dark Chocolate. So this paint that I'm using now, if I move this up a little bit for you, is the Tan. And the challenge was to paint the entire page with Inktense. And then I blend out with the lighter colors. So it's kind of what I'm trying to do now. So I'm alternating between the Tan and the Sicilian Yellow. Okay, so now a little bit of the dark chocolate, just a touch. So do Saddle Brown as well now. Hi Michelle, oh, it's a pleasure. Wow, all the way down in Australia. How is Australia these days? It's a bit cold, isn't it? Yeah, I also find I like colouring over the top of prismas, of Inktense with prismas. I do like that technique. Oh, thank you, B. I do enjoy the Mythograph books. I find, especially now that they've gotten rid of those hidden objects, they really are a pleasure to work in. Do you find you also take a while to get into new books, or do you just go for it? I find sometimes the new books intimidate me and I take a while to get into them. Oh, that's good. At least you're having a few warm days. Okay, I'm going to darken up the spots now with the dark chocolate. B, that's hilarious. I'm glad I'm in good company. I think my eerie books have been on the shelf for over a year and still haven't completed a page in them. Bye, Panay. Okay, thanks for joining. It was lovely chatting to you, and I hope to see you next time. Have a good rest of your evening or day, and see you soon. Okay, I've got the dark chocolate now, and I'm going to start working on these very slowly because they are really finicky. Oh yes, Kanoke Gusa books. Yeah, they can take a while. Oh, the other one I still haven't completed a page in is the Ken Matsuda book. I think I just overthink that book. And I saw your work in it. My goodness, B, amazing coloring. I was blown away when I saw your pages. I think you flipped through your Ken Matsuda book in one of your videos, and oh my goodness, it's just remarkable. It's a lovely book, Cindy. It really is. And I think there's it probably isn't as difficult as my brain makes it out to be. But yeah, Ken Matsuda's books are just, his work is amazing. I also like that he's got those QR codes, and you can go and see his original artwork and you can copy it if you want. I find that really useful. Oh, cool. I'll keep an eye out for your video. I suppose it's like that with most coloring books. It's intimidating until you get started, but once you get started and you figure it out, it's not that bad.